What's up, guys? Wanted to give a quick rundown of the Grand Tournament USA that Games Workshop put on in Grapevine, Texas here this past weekend. So we'll kind of run through some of my games, my 5 games. I took Seraphon and had a great time. Really well run tournament, much better than the Heat 1 and 2 that they ran here in Grapevine before. That was run by Citadel. So this one was much better. A nice, well-run tournament. I think they brought in some of the guys from the Warhammer world in England to run this one. So well done, guys. Well done. Really fun tournament. We'll kind of look at the games I played, some pictures from them, and kind of do a rundown. The mistakes I made and how sometimes you just don't have a chance. First, we'll take a look at my list here. Here's the list I brought. Seraphon, of course. And we've got the Slann. Great, remember, get those 2 guaranteed teleports now, are always useful. Along with Ignax scale, so he gets a 4-up mortal save. And Meteoric Convocation, just to give a few mortals out via that spell. We got a couple Engines of the Gods, 2 engines to hopefully summon. Throughout the weekend, when they would summon first turn, usually I could do pretty well. The games that I just lost horribly, usually they would fail all their summons, for 2 straight turns or something. And so I do feel like that sometimes the game kind of swings pretty heavily on how they do. If I can get them to summon in more Ripperdactyls turn 1, especially if I'm going against something that'll be susceptible to just a lot of dice, then that works out really well. Most of the time I would just summon in Skinks if I could and just throw out screens as much as possible, just get bodies on the board. But if that didn't work, then with this list I only have 30 Skinks on the board to start with, so I don't have a whole lot of screens to keep stuff off my important things. So if those summons don't work, then I've got to rely on the Slann to do it. And with this list, I'm trying to cast some spells with them. So we also have a banner, the Astrolith bear. He gives you a +1 to cast, and he increases the range of the casting 8 inches, and he lets you reroll your hits. So this guy right here is pretty important. So I always put Incandescent Retrices on him so that he has a chance to come back if he's killed. Usually if he's killed and in combat, the game's already over. So if he's shot, then usually, or mortal wounded off, then usually there's not a whole lot of wounds left to allocate, and so that Incandescent Retrices, if it works, will usually do enough to keep him alive. Skink Starpriest, that Stellar Tempest, is just an amazing spell. It does go off on an 8, but with +1 from Banner and +1, hopefully, from the Slann, if you can get that to roll, then it'll be going off on a 6, and you'll take out some hordes that way. Especially with the Banner Bear, the Astrolith Bear, giving them an extra 8 inches, so you don't even have to set them up on the line, and you can hit their hordes turn 1. A couple Skinks, of course, and some 6 Ripperdactyl Riders. Those are amazing. In Shadowstrike, they can come in 3 inches away, so usually you can point at something and remove it from the board if they give you enough room for it. 3 inches is hard to screen for, so usually something's left exposed, and if not, just pop that bloat toad down on an objective and wait for him to put something important there and then claim it. Bastiladon, I added a Bastiladon to this list just for a little bit of extra shooting. This list doesn't, other than the Ripperdactyls and the spells, it doesn't really have a lot of power and able to deal damage. So I kind of wanted something that with a little bit of staying power. Bastiladon is quite tanky, of course. Can withstand some mortals, but also can put out some damage. It's incredibly streaky, but when it hits hard, it'll be nice. Especially with as much Slaanesh as out there right now, these guys will do 3 damage on each shot, so that's always nice. And then of course the Purple Sun, which is my favorite spell right now. For only 50 points, you have a chance to absolutely just remove models from those elite units. It's great against hordes. It's great against elite units. It's just a great spell. And only 50 points. It does cast on an 8, but I can pretty reliably get it to cast on a 6 and turn 1, throw it into something. A couple times this weekend, I would teleport my Slann just forward, 12 inches, so he's within range of the banner, and then cast it, and it would hit him. or do a commando Slann move and teleport behind their units, cast it, and then teleport back. That's always fun to just kind of pop back there, cast the purple sun, and then get back out of there. This does come out to 1980, and so I was able to roll Triumph on a couple of games. I think most of them, there may have been one game where I didn't have a Triumph, and one game where the Triumph was absolutely critical. I think it won me the game. So we'll get to that here in a few minutes. We'll go through my games. 5 games, and Seraphon did well. I came out 3-2. That's about what I expected. That's what I was hoping for. So with Seraphon, I think that's about as good as you can ask for, unless you get real lucky matchups and real lucky rolls. So I was happy. So now on to game 1. So game 1, I was playing against Steve Hill, and he actually flew in to Dallas, Texas from New Zealand. Now, not just for this tournament. I was pretty impressed to think that he'd done that, but he had some family here, and so he'd arranged to pick up and purchase a painted squig army to play in this tournament while he was in town. So pretty awesome. So I got to play for somebody from New Zealand. That was a lot of fun. And he had a great-looking army. It was squigs. So we got to play a whole bunch of squigs here. You can see his army over here on the left. He had Skragrott as the general with Hand of Gork, so he could teleport things around. Table as needed. A giant cave squig with Loon Boss. That would be to buff up some of the squigs. The cave shaman. That's to get extra command points. Has Itchy Nuisance, so he can make stuff fight last. And the Troggoth Hag. And then a whole bunch of squigs. A bunch of squig herds, some sneaky snufflers to buff those guys up, some squig hoppers, and then 15 of the bounders. So looking at the list, I knew that I needed to get rid of either the bounders or the hag. That was kind of going to be my target for the Ripperdactyls, just depending on how he set up. So, because those bounders are gonna be nasty, as well as the hag. If she gets on an objective, my list, unfortunately doesn't have much that's going to be able to remove her, especially if she's screened well. And we were playing Battle for the Past. You can see the layout there. It's this new layout, which is like that weird triangle shape on the ends, which I'm not too much a fan of. It does cause some weird deployment, but my army's not too bad on that one. I basically put the banner right at the very front, and then he'll be able to buff everything around there. So he did have Palisades, which I don't think he ever used this game. The Cauldron and the Scuttletide. He got Cauldron out on Skragrott at some point to give some extra spells, and then Scuttletide, he actually did pretty well with the Scuttletide. It got into me and kind of messed some stuff up. So let's turn off his list. And let's look at some of the pictures from the game. Here's the setup that we had. This was turn 1. Oh, this is deployment. I'm sorry. So you can kind of see my forces here, kind of in a triangle shape there. I had one engine here, and I was gonna go after one of these objectives, but I think this one was gonna be easier just because of the way this giant tower here was in my way. I did end up getting my Slann up on top of there because he can fly once I use that command point. And so I knew he'd be safe from just about everything other than those bounders, because those bounders can fly, I think. So everything else was going to have to climb up it. I'm not sure if the squig herd can fly. They bounce, but I don't know if they can fly or not. But you can see his hag is right here. It was a converted from a Dankhold. And then his Mangler squid was here. That thing's nasty. And then all his Boingrot bounders were kind of in a group right here. So leaving the hag open like that, and since she's only -1 to hit, which a lot of times people take her, they put on Griff Feather on her, which I probably would always do if I had her, just to make her -2 to hit. And if she uses her spell, -3. So it can be almost, unbeatable, at least with normal hits that way. But since he didn't have an artifact on her and kind of left her wide open here, I was going to try to hit her with the Ripperdactyls. So I did teleport my Slann in behind and then cast Purple Sun onto these guys. And it actually did pretty well. It didn't do any damage to the Mangler Squid. You have to roll a 6 for it to do 2d6. but it did take out quite a few of the Boingrot Bounders and maybe one of the sneaky Snufflers there, but enough to cause some battle shock for those guys, because I don't think he had a command point because he didn't have any battalions. So he lost a few more from that. And then brought the Rippers in and took out the Hag. It was fairly close. The -1 to hit helps, and she has 16 wounds, so it was close, but did enough to take it out. My battalion lets me move after setup, so I was able to move these Skinks up this way, and then move this unit here just kind of up towards that objective there. Not sure what all pictures I've got here. Oh, there's the Ripperdactyls when they came down, and notice the Hag is gone. The Purple Sun's there, the Red Sun is there, and oh, nasty. You can see a giant Greater Unclean one on the other table. That Purple Sun, though, when you put that up in somebody's backfield like that, if you can get it back there, then it's wonderful, because it's going to cause a problem. If they get to go first, you're gonna rake it over something else. If you get the double turn, or if you get priority on the second one, then they're going to end up just moving it off the table probably, which means you can just cast it again. So that's a pretty fun strategy. We can throw up the score here. So turn 1, I did take turn 1. I was able to score both the ones in the middle using the Skinks. I still tried to kind of stay as far back as possible just in case their movement got them closer than what I wanted. But you can see those Skinks there. After turn 1, this is a Seraphon's dream here, is to just be surrounded by Skinks in a giant bubble. And so I didn't get out quite as many as I'd hoped. I think I got 1 summons from the engine, but having a big nice bubble like that always helps. I would have preferred to get another summons from the other engine, so I could have put in another layer kind of right here in case he gets the double turn. But that did help. You do like it to be enveloped by Skinks there. So this is probably, looks like lots missing here. We've probably gone through, this may have already been after his double turn. He did get the double turn, and he was able to score both of the ones in the middle back. Actually, it may have just only been one. I think I retreated some Skinks back out of there. He had this Mangler Squid that came down and some other stuff here, but I was able to, he couldn't attack all my Skinks at once, so I was able to pull these Skinks back this way to keep him from getting that middle one. He did take this one back. He took this one back, and there was another unit of Skinks right here, and I actually, on my turn, I guess it was my next activation I had, they ran this way out of combat. And I knew that on my turn, I was going to be able to get them onto that objective. So I wanted to get them a few extra inches there to make sure they could do it. On my turn, I teleported a unit of Skinks back here and basically shot the Mangler Squid, brought in another unit of Skinks, I think, from maybe one of the engines, or may have just been the Slann. But I had plenty of Skinks here on this objective now, because these guys here were able to complete their move up this way. But I tried to run these 20 Skinks, or I tried to charge these 20 Skinks, and actually made the 9-inch charge. So at that point, I had like 20 in range, because they were my only combat unit, and I just pulled them right back out. So I had like 20 on his objective at that point. And on this battle plan, when you score their objective, that's 4 points. And so if you can do it once in the game, you can almost guarantee a victory, just because it's hard to come back from that 4-point swing. And I think he still might have had a chance if he had gotten the turn here, but from 2 to 3, I got the double turn. And I was basically just able to sit on the objectives and score another 7 points. And so it was pretty much over at that point. He conceded. I did end up on that turn 2 and 3. I was able to summon just even more stuff in. I was able to shoot off his Mangler Squigs, and he actually, I don't think he ever actually got them into combat. He may have killed off a unit of Skinks or something with them, but other than that, they made their move all the way down to here, and then just got trapped at that double turn. and got caught up on the Skinks. So that was pretty good. The Bastiladon was able to shoot him. These guys were able to shoot him, and since they're all in range of that banner there, they all do pretty good. I think, let's see. Nope, that was the last picture I had for that one. So pretty much into there. I think in my next turn, I was able to summon even more in back here. And at that point, it's just a churn. I've got so many Skinks. Oh yeah, his Mangler Squid's gone. I've got so many Skinks in that I was actually running out of Skinks. You can't see all of them here. There were more here. There were more over here. I think it was about 100 Skinks on the board, and I was running out of stuff to summon, so I was summoning in some Riperdactyls. So when you tell your opponent, hey, I'm running out of stuff to summon, so I'm going to start summoning, some Riperdactyls, those things that killed your best unit, as my second option to summon. So at that point, he conceded. Great guy. We had fun. Well, I mean, I had fun. I don't know. I think he had fun. He was still learning the army a little bit, I think. He'd been studying the rules for it and was getting it down. I think he still finished fairly well. He may have been 2-3 or 3-2, something like that. I saw him win at least one other game the weekend. But real nice guy. He definitely was a pleasure to play with. Had a real nice looking army, and it's always fun getting to play somebody from as far away as New Zealand. So good game, Steve. Had a blast. Okay, game 2, which I'm joined here by Axton. He's a Stormcast player, right? Yep. So we'll talk about game 2 real quick. I was playing Nicholas, and he brought Tomb Kings. They flew in from New York, him and a couple buddies, and he brought Tomb Kings, which is pretty awesome. I've never played Tomb Kings. I've never even seen Tomb Kings on the board, but it was a pretty awesome army. A ton of chariots. So he had the Tomb King on a chariot, which that guy was actually really strong. I guess he's 460 points, so he's going to be strong. But that guy put out a ton of damage later. And then and then he had 3 units of chariots. These are skeleton chariots. They're 5 wounds each, and he could bring back 2 per turn. So if you didn't kill a whole unit, they were coming back. So he had quite a few of those. Some skeleton legionnaires. I'm not even sure what those were. Those may have just been some skeletons. I don't remember. They may have just been on an objective or something like that. And then the Necropolis Knights. These guys were awesome. They're like giant cobras with like a skeleton riding on the top with a spear. They were pretty sweet looking. And Geminids, which I don't think we ever got off in the game. I don't remember ever seeing them. But pretty cool list, and models looked awesome. I think he won maybe favorite army or won a favorite vote for his units or something.
I like the chariots.
Yeah, you like the chariots.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll look at some of the pictures here. So this was our deployment. So we're playing focal points, and you have to score the ones that are opposite each other to get extra points. So if you score like that one and that one, you get 3 points. Same for this side. If you score both of those, you get 3, and the ones in the middle are worth 2. So I had my post-deployment movement, and I got one of the Skinks even further up the middle. I knew with these guys, these skeletons, they're just so incredibly fast. He was telling me this beforehand, and it gave me a little idea how the army worked, that I knew that I needed to get these guys Skinks as far up, because these things don't fly, I thought. So maybe I can just screen them off that way. Turns out he could get one of the skeleton units to fly, so that was pretty cool. But so this is my setup, and we'll pull the score up here. So I took first turn. I beat him on deployment, so I did take first turn. I teleported my Slann, who you can see him up here in this tower here. He was able to deploy up there in that tower, which I was thinking he's going to be safe up there because these skeletons, it'll have to take them forever to get up there. And it did. It took them forever to get up there. They could never make it up there. But on my deployment, my first turn, I was able to get the sun out there. And I think it took out 1 chariot maybe. But he didn't really have a lot of models, so I took out 1. And you can see the Riperdactyls back over this way. I was wanting to try to get him into his boss, that chariot, but there wasn't quite enough room And so what I ended up doing was I had quite a bit of room on the back side of those Necropolis Knights. You can see on deployment here, I had quite a bit of space back here. I was able to fit that 3 inches in. And I wasn't sure if that was the right target. You know, I've never played Tomb Kings. Afterwards, I was like, hey man, was that the right target? Was that the right one? And he was kind of a little cagey. He said, you know, it was all right. After the game, he told me, yeah, absolutely, that was the right unit to select. And he said he was battle shocking a little bit in real life when the Ripperdactyls deleted that unit of Necropolis Knights. It's a lot of wounds to get through, but the Ripperdactyls did it. And if they hadn't, he would have brought them back, you know, because they come back to a turn. So he would have brought those suckers back real quick. And so that was my turn there. I was able to score. Let's see, the ones in the middle and then my 2, so that was 4 points. On his turn, these guys are so fast that they were able to get around. You can see my unit of screens here for the Skinks kind of setting up. These chariots are coming in real fast. He's coming from my back objective here, and they get you know, powered up on the charge, so they're real good on the charge. On his turn, he was able to score. I don't think he was able to score that one, and I may have kept him from scoring. I kept him from scoring one of them. I can't remember which one it was, but I think I pulled some Skinks back out of battle. I think he may have gotten this one because of those Grimghast, maybe, and I may have been able to pull some of these Skinks back far enough to where he couldn't get to them. Not 100% sure what that was about. Yeah, so it must have been these Skinks that pulled back. Looks like this is probably after my turn. I was able to get rid of those Grimghast Reapers. He summoned those in his turn using something. I can't remember what, but he was able to summon those guys in. His chariot went over here in his turn and took care of those Ripperdactyls. And it looks like maybe some other skeletons went over there or something. He had this group here. I don't think they ever moved from his objective, so they held that objective pretty much all game. The sun was doing what the sun does and coming back and wrecking some stuff there. But we were trading off turns there for a little while. That kept me in the game because I was able to... Actually, this game, I wasn't able to summon anything with the engines for my first 2 turns. And that kind of hurt in this one because I knew I needed screens. I needed screens badly for all this stuff, all these chariots and stuff. And so, with the engines not doing what they needed to do, that was kind of hurting my goal there. But I was able to sneak these Skinks in here. You can see I'm not sure if I teleported those guys or if they ran back that way. I may have just teleported them. They may have been the ones that were holding this down, maybe. And they teleported enough to grab that objective. So I was able to score the 3 points for these, 4, 5, and 6 from this one, from the Skinks. Here I was, let's see, that was my second turn. So on his turn, then he's just going to crash back into me again. Now this is kind of a cool shot of the skeleton hordes around the base of my Slann and some Skinks there hiding up in that tower, trying to stay safe. He does have some shooting, so I was able to pick off a few Skinks, but not too many. There's one with a filter because that makes it better.
Cool.
Yeah. So his chariots continue to just wear me down here, and they're coming back in to make sure they grab this one. These chariots that were up here that helped take off the Ripperdactyls, they're coming down to score this one, and they'll charge in and get in combat here. That's probably the next picture. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Some chariots.
I like those chariots.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet. So they're taking on the Bastiladon there. Another shot of the Bastiladon about to get wrecked. He may have survived one. I think he survived one turn with them maybe, but the next one he got taken out. So it looks like I got some more summons here. So this may have been after another turn of mine. Looks like I got some those Skinks there. Oh. So at this point, this may have been my turn 3. I think I was playing for a Hail Mary here, just trying to score some extra points. I had to make a decision. I needed to get something up here, and hopefully they weren't going to be within 6 of the objective, so I needed to make a charge, and I wanted to be able to reroll that charge. So it was either an engine, send him up there, which probably would have been the smart play, the banner, or the Slann. And I wanted to keep the banner here because I needed the rerolls to that Bastiladon. Without the rerolls for his hits, he's useless. And I needed to clear this unit here. If you don't clear it, they're coming right back. So I was hoping there's no way he's going to do that amount of damage, but I was going to try to take in some other stuff, shoot everything that way, and take out. It's 15 wounds. So if you can roll big on the Bastiladon, maybe you can do it, but you'll have to have some help there. I was going to try to send the Engine of the Gods over there as well. So I teleported the Slann and some Skinks back there. He was a little shocked when I teleported the Slann back there. So that was pretty funny. But I did not get the charge, I don't believe. I scored 4 points here, so I think I was just scoring mine in the middle on this one. I was just able to pull some Skinks there, Skinks here, score those. Bastiladon did not clear. Oh, there's... I think that's his turn. So, yeah, so let's back up a second here. I wasn't able to clear those skeletons with the Bastiladon, and he ended up dying in combat. I was going to, if I had retreated, he would have just gotten charged by him. They get supercharged on the charge, so I didn't want to do that. I was just hoping he could stand there and hopefully take out enough to make a difference, but he didn't. So I didn't charge in the engine because I knew the engine couldn't clear the rest of them, and it was just by Bastiladon. So here's his turn. And it's not looking good at this point. He's circled up enough guys here to capture that one. And he's got enough skeleton over here to get that one and that one. He got 6 points, so he must have had... Oh, he had that one too. So I must have had just enough here to keep him from getting that one. I still had Skinks there, and I still had some Skinks here. Those Skinks, I think, retreated out of combat when he was killing that guy. But then he got the double turn, and at that point, I knew it was over. They cleared him, and it was not pretty. The Purple Sun did some good work for me. It removed, big models, but with him being able to just remove 2 or bring back 2 per turn, I couldn't clear him fast enough. There's the end of his turn, I think. So I had 1 engine left, the banner, and some Skinks, and at that point, I was able to score 2 points, I think, from this one here and then this one back here. But it wasn't going to matter what the roll-off was. It was over at that point. There wasn't any way for me to make up enough ground. We may have rolled off priority just for fun. I can't remember. I may have even teleported this engine back here. I don't know why he's back there. He may have still been alive. But at that point, it was over. I was too behind on points, and I didn't have enough bodies to be able to remove those guys and take it from them. I could teleport some Skinks places, but it wasn't going to be enough. So at that point, we called it. He may have won the roll off. Maybe that's why we called it early. But at whatever point, he still had full strength chariots all over the place. So unless you can kill an entire unit of those chariots, they're going to keep coming back. And my army doesn't quite have enough power to remove those guys, especially in combat. They're pretty quick. But great game from Nick. Glad he flew down from New York to play. Brought some of his buddies along with him. I think I played one of his other New York friends in Game 5, so we had some good times. But it was awesome seeing the Tomb Kings. Haven't ever seen them on the table before. Did you like the army? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So great models. A lot of fun, and it was a good game. Action! Okay, Game 3. I was playing against Rob here from Grapevine from Dallas. He's part of the Defenders of the Citadel. Had a great list. I knew this game type was not a good one for me because it's places of arcane power. So you need a hero on it to score, and my heroes don't exactly want to be up there on the front lines. Especially against a shooting army. And he had the Vermin Lord Warp Seer and had him kitted out to where he's got, about 5 million save afters. So I knew I couldn't touch that guy, so he was going to get one of the objectives. His other 2 heroes were pretty weak, Arch Warlock and a Bombardier. but I just don't really have enough removing power to get on there and hold it from all these rats. He also had 6 Giselles and 6 Storm Fiends. So that was going to be nasty.
I like this guy right here.
Yeah, that's the rat boss.
I like him.
Yeah. So the way this is our deployment here, and I didn't really want to take first, but I knew if I didn't, he was going to take it. So, or he was going to kill me. So I had a dilemma on setup. Do I set up all my guys back here so they don't get shot to death from the Giselles and the Storm Fiends? But then all my heroes, they can't get up here and score an objective. So it was one or the other. I'm going to either take an objective or get shot, or try to take an objective and do both. He did have a gnaw hole way over here on this side, on the left side. So that's where this guy's going. That's the plan. And you can't teleport him onto it and score, so that kind of takes away some of my plan as well.
Do you only have
So,
3 heroes?
I have 4, 5, but they're all little. Like this guy here, that's my banner. I had a little Skink Priest somewhere in here. My Slann was in this building to give him +1 to save, and he had Skinks around him to give him a -1 to hit. So hopefully, he could survive some shooting there. Once I go, I chose to go first because I knew I needed to get my reroll to saves and shooting from the Slann. So that was going to be my only chance. Maybe I'll get lucky and those guys would survive a little bit. So I did go first. Here's the scores. Not good. I think we finished this game in about 45 minutes, maybe. So it went pretty fast, as I lost most of my heroes after his first turn. But my turn, I brought in Ripperdactyls, pretty much the only place I could. I knew if I waited, he was going to get buffed up, and all his stuff would get screened where I couldn't get to it. His Giselles were back here; they were blocked off at the edge. His Storm Fiends here were blocked off. So I was like, I'm going to kill some rats, secure this left side as best I can, let him have these, and then try to work the middle. Was kind of my plan. So the Ripperdactyls here, they came down and they took out all those clan rats. My Skink Starpriest, he took out that group right there of Plague Monks. He started working on the Plague Monks. Killed quite a few of them, I think. So that was good. So we had a lot of bodies removed off the board, but didn't really help me. This guy didn't quite make it over there, even running. And I really didn't want to commit anything here. I was hoping he'd move up to claim it, and then maybe I could get the next turn, shoot him, see how it goes. But so that's after my turn. But I didn't get any summons from the engines. That seemed to happen this game and the one previous, and I got clobbered pretty good on these. So when the summons work, it goes well. This one, I don't know that it would have really helped much because you have to have a hero to score him. So his turn, you can see I don't have many pictures of this game because it went so quickly. My Slann's gone, my Skink's gone, my Skink Priest, my banner's here, he's almost dead. So he took them out first turn, so that kind of hampers me. This guy finally got onto the objective. This is my second turn. So I did get a summons of some Ripperdactyls. I brought in the Ripperdactyls. Maybe they'd help do something here since I don't really need Skinks anymore. I was hoping Ripperdactyls would come in here. This guy failed his summons, so didn't get anything there. I think we got maybe the 10-inch mortals, so we didn't get any mortals because that rarely ever works. Yeah, other than that, not much happened that turn. We couldn't summon anything else in because the Slann's gone. We saw the banner, but he wasn't long for this world either. The Bastiladon, I don't even remember what he shot into. I think I was aiming at this guy here. He had a hero there, and so I figured I could kill that guy with the Bastiladon. He's just a small, 5-wound hero. The Arch Warlock, I think he was. He couldn't even kill that, even with rerolls to hits. The Bastiladon couldn't kill him. I may have even put D6 mortals into him from there. Whatever it was pretty pathetic that I couldn't kill off that one little hero. All that would have done was just keep him from scoring that one. And then once I killed this guy, it would keep him from scoring that. Then maybe I would have a chance. I would have more heroes left. I could send this engine over this way. I mean, the engine would get killed instantly, but maybe I could eke out a victory somehow that way. But then in his turn, you can see he deleted everything that was here. Everything that was there. The Bastiladon was almost dead. These Skinks back here, they're dead. They're not part of that.
Who are they?
Those are the Storm Fiends. They're like giant rats with machine guns and rocket launchers and all types of sweet stuff. The Storm Fiends here, they were coming down. They wrecked those Ripperdactyls, and then we're about to take out that guy. So then in my turn, he scores another 4 points in that one. So then in my turn, I don't even remember I think the engine, he's so far down in health now. He may have just gotten a heal to heal like 1 wound or something like that.
I like those rats. I like those. They look cool.
Yeah, those do look pretty sweet. That was the last picture I had, so it was really just a play to the end of the game to see, so we could get them all the kill points. It came down to the Skinks were literally the only thing I had left alive, and he brought his Storm Fiends down this way. They took out the engine pretty easily, and then by turn 5, he took out the Skinks. So it was never really in doubt. His shooting was just so incredibly strong. These Giselles have 30-inch range, can reroll everything, have -2 rend, I think, and can do mortals, so they are pretty nasty. I can handle the hordes usually with the way my loadout is, but I can't handle that kind of shooting once they take out my Slann. I don't know exactly how to beat that one. Maybe it's just leave all my stuff in the back corner, wait for him to bring some stuff forward, and then maybe get Ripperdactyls on either the Giselles or the Storm Fiends. But when you rely on, if you're telling me the only way to beat that in my list is to wait for him to make a mistake, that's not exactly a good strategy. I feel like whatever hero I would have gotten up there would have just instantly gotten sniped. So I think this was just a bad matchup plus a bad scenario for my army versus his. I might have a decent chance against him on some other objective types where I can just whittle down those hordes and then steal objectives with Skinks, kind of my MO. But on this one, that wasn't much of a game. We got over pretty fast, so we were able to wrap up the first day here on Game 3 pretty quickly. We were definitely the first ones to turn it in. I'm serious. Maybe it lasted an hour, so it was over pretty quick. But still a fun game. Good guy. Definitely a good list. I think he's taking this list down to Austin for WarGamesCon. So if you run into this, keep your heroes in cover safely outside of 30.
Hey, Dad.
But good game. Good game.
Dad.
Yeah.
You played a very bad game.
Yes. Not only did I lose, my son is shaming me now. Yeah, it wasn't a good one. I got shot a lot. Kind of like sometimes when I play your Stormcast, it just shoots me to death, right? Yeah. All right, on to Game 4. Okay, Game 4 was played against Darren and his Iron Jaws. Darren was a real nice guy from Mineral Wells. Come over. He brought his Iron Jaws. He had Gordrak and a list of... I don't have his list, but it was a battalion that had a ton of movement. Maybe it's Iron Fist, I think is what it's called, maybe. They had a ton of movement. They had movement in the hero phase. They had movement in the movement phase. But they were moving like crazy. Also had some teleportation stuff. And we're playing Total Conquest. This was actually a pretty fun game type. I haven't played this one all that much. And you score... don't do that. You score 1 point for holding the objective, but if you take it from somebody, you score 2. And so this game was actually a lot of fun. It was pretty interesting because he is so fast that he could cover the entire board basically in one turn. And then I was teleporting stuff. So as I'm teleporting my stuff all around, he's just running from one side of the table to the other. And so we're constantly capturing objectives from each other the entire game. And so we had a lot of swings in the points where somebody would get 2 points from each one because they took it, but then the next turn we'd take it back. Now he was taking them via combat. I was just taking them by summoning Skinks, so a little bit different. But the Skinks also fed him big time on the smashing and bashing. So when he kills a unit, when he clears a unit, he can immediately attack with another unit from his army. So there would be times where he'd get into combat with 3 or 4 units of Skinks and would kill them all. but then on my next turn, I would just summon in more. So it was a really good game. It was really fun. You can see the scores there. I ended up winning this one by 2 points. It was pretty crazy. A really fun game, though. We had a lot of fun. So this is our deployment. My objective here was just really to stay back as far as possible. I knew he was coming down, or he would let me have the first turn. And if he let me have the first turn, that would be preferable. But he didn't. He took it. So after my deployment, you can move. So I didn't really move these guys much. I moved them up just a little bit just to kind of get that objective, make sure I had it. Move these guys up just to make sure I had it. I meant to keep these guys within 9 of the edge because I knew he had Hand of Gork, and I kind of messed that one up. I gave him a little bit too much room there. And so he did take first turn, and he got Hand of Gork off, and he sent like one of these units, maybe that one or this one, or it was just one of the 5 brutes back over here into my corner, and he got it to where it was 9 outside of here. It's a little bit further than this one, but didn't really matter. Those guys, when they teleport, they pretty much have a guaranteed get into combat because they have all that extra movement. So he can move in the movement or the hero phase. So to get within 9, so he was going to make that charge. No, there they are. They had like bone-colored armor, which is pretty cool looking. He had a pretty cool looking army.
That's cool.
They were able to get into that Engine of the Gods, and they were able to kill it that turn. So they killed that one. My turn. Oh, well, first, this is what it looks like after my turn, but he didn't make the charge on Gordrak. So it was a little bit of a long charge, but he didn't make it. And so that was pretty big. Because if he had made Gordrak in, he would have definitely killed some Skinks, and I need to keep those going as much as possible. So my turn, I pull these guys back just to kind of shield where that engine was, and I summon in another 2 units of Skinks from the Slann. And this engine failed me again. I think he did some mortals to these guys. That was about it. And then I knew I wasn't gonna be able to kill him with anything I had, so I was gonna just kind of try to ignore him. I probably could have sent Ripperdactyls onto him and probably would have killed him, but I wasn't for sure. And I knew I could get the points if I sent the Ripperdactyls after just a unit of 5 brutes that were back here. So I did. I sent the Ripperdactyls after those brutes and was able to clear them fairly easily. And that was going to make him have to have a hard decision on his turn, whether he's going to send Gordrak back there or let me have it, or send Gordrak here and take that one. And so since he was kind of stuck here in the middle, it was a good dilemma to put him into. My turn, I also cast Purple Sun here. You can see it there. And it actually did, it took out quite a few of these Ard boys that were right here. There's a big unit of Ard boys, maybe like 20 of them, I think. And so it took out quite a few, and then Battle Shock took out more of them. He'd used his command points already on the last turn and then failed on Gordrak, so that was pretty big. So I don't think he had a command point to Battle Shock him. And the Purple Sun has -1 to Battle Shock anyway, so he lost maybe 4 or 5 just from Battle Shock, so that was pretty sweet. Did a little bit of wounds to these guys. I didn't clear them, though. The Bastiladon, you know, sometimes he does well, sometimes he whiffs, and I think he whiffed this turn. So, but I was able to score this one, and this one, and this one here. So that gave me 4 points for taking this one back. So that was good. He did get the next turn. Oh. Since he got the next turn, I moved the Purple Sun in front of Gordrak just to create a block. I know he can fly, but he can't land on top of it.
That's
so
cool. Right.
Yeah, that's Gordrak. He's on a Maw Crusher, big giant dragon-looking thing. So it just kind of created a roadblock there. I didn't know where he's going to take him, so if I put that there, he's going to make it a little bit harder for him to get into combat. He ended up, so you kind of see, he would have been able to hit these guys, and he would have killed them, obviously. But at least it was kind of blocking his way a little bit. Gordrak was headed back that way towards the Ripperdactyls. So I think that was a good thing because it just kept my kind of core base here alive. If he had come in this way, it would have put me in a lot more peril. But sometimes you got to go for the points, and he could have easily gotten 2 points there from killing those guys, which he did. He cleared them, and then he was bringing these guys in here to take them out. Brought them in here, took them out. So after his turn, because he got Smashing and Bashing, so he cleared this unit. Then they got to attack. They cleared that unit. Then they got to attack, and they cleared that unit. So it was a bad turn. Oh, he actually may have cleared the Engine of the Gods as well. So I think when these guys were able to attack, that cleared off the Skinks, and then these guys were able to pull in. Okay, you're fine. He was able to kill off that Engine of the Gods as well. So in my turn, you can see here that I had to make a decision. It was like, do I just bunker up, or I get smashed, or I got to start teleporting some stuff around? So I took my banner and the Bastiladon, teleported him all the way up to that back left corner. His Mega Boss on foot, I think that's what he's called, was over there. He was the only one holding it. So I knew I could get just enough in there. If I could sneak him in there, then I could get it. I couldn't get him within 6 inches, though. So, and the Bastiladon didn't kill him. So that was kind of disappointing. But what was critical is I got the double turn from 2 to 3. Because if I hadn't, he would have just rushed down this way, blew me up. These guys would have rushed in here, 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 and then that guy would have gone there. I would have been tabled at the beginning of 3, no doubt about it. It would have been bad. So I was literally saved by getting the double turn. You can see here after my turn, I was able to finally kill his Mega Boss up there on foot. I summoned in some more Skinks here from the banner. And I was able to summon in some more Skinks here. So I'm just kind of creating a wall, and my Slann is right here. So I know Maw Crusher's coming back this way. Oh, I also brought in some more Skinks up here. And I don't think I was able to take it. Let's see, I scored 5 points that turn. So I must have been able to take it from him. So I got 2 from this one, 2 from this one, and then 1 from this one. So teleporting those Skinks up there. I think what they did is they made a charge. I made a 9-inch charge from them. And my Skink Priest is up here so they could re-roll that if they needed. I can't remember if I had to or not, but I teleported the Skink up there too, Skink Priest. And so they made the 9-inch charge, and then that was my only combat, so I just activated them outside of 3, and I had that objective. So scored 5 points. That was probably the thing that saved me there was that turn. You'll notice that the purple sun, or the red sun, never moves here. From this point on, we just forgot to move it. we were so focused on movement, and I mean, our models were moving all over the board. Teleportings, him running, everything. It was crazy. We just kind of forgot about the sun. It probably would have come back in here and killed some Skinks, I would imagine, at some point, but I don't know how much damage it would have done. He did. He raced most of his guys back up this way to kill them. Maw Crusher killed those units, and my bunker here was, I think, pretty much left alone. Yep, so you can see after his turn there, I must have been able to, I can't remember exactly what happened with these Skinks. I think these guys may have retreated out of combat or something in his turn, or I'm not sure where those guys were from. Oh, those were the ones that came in from this side. This was the one where I almost hurt myself because I ran them just to get them in closer, and they only ran like 1 inch. And I couldn't spare the command point to make them run further. So I couldn't get all that many into combat. I don't know that I guess I took that one back. But later in the game, I think I had hoped for more guys. I summoned in 10 more Skinks there, just to create another screen for my guys up there. And I was able to... I think I was able to run these guys. They may have been the ones that were right here, and they ran that way. Maybe. I'm trying to remember exactly how they got there. I think that was a run. My Skinks up here were dead, but I just moved in that Skink Priest so that he had to make a decision. Do I waste a turn on Gordrak attacking that Skink, or do I come down here? Because if he left me up there, then I'm going to take it. I wasn't going to take it this turn, but he had to deal with him. He did have one Ardboy with 1 health left. So the Ardboy wasn't going to kill my Skink Priest because Skink Priest has 4 wounds. It wasn't possible for him to kill the Skink Priest in 1 turn. And the Skink Priest only had to do 1 damage to him to kill him. So he's a little wary about sending that guy in after him. But I wanted to create that dilemma up there so he'd have to choose. Then his turn, You can see Maw Crusher comes down this way, and the pigs go up that way to take that objective. They were able to take that one. These guys here came into this skink, the skinks here, and his shaman, he probably should have run his shaman into those guys and charged them, but he didn't because he was confident those brutes would take him out, which they should have. But he failed on one of the smashing and bashing. So Gordrak killed the Slann, no problem. And he may have killed these skinks here, but left these ones alive. So he wasn't able to score this objective, maybe. I think that's what happened. These guys came into here. He may have attacked these guys first. So his first smashing and bashing may have attacked that. Wherever it was, he wasn't able to complete the smashing and bashing. So I was able to get these skinks up into this little hole here. And he was still able to put his brute boss onto him, which does a lot of damage. But he wasn't able to clear the unit. So I think I was able to hold on to that one. There's his boss killing the Slann. Slann's gone. So I still have some skinks here. They were able to hold that one. My skink priest up here was able to take that one. And these skinks here were able to run this way. So they were able to come that way. He may have only killed one of them at that point or something. Or maybe he didn't even kill any of them. I can't remember how that worked. But I was able to get enough out here. I can't remember if I was able to score that one or not. This was turn. I must have been able to. No, I must have not got that one because it looks like I only got 5 points on that one. So I held this one, took that one back, and took that one back. So they must have been just out of range. Bastiladon whiffed on these guys. Couldn't take them out. Oh, and that's the last picture I have. So it came down to, on his turn, he was going to need to take these guys out here, these skinks, because they were in range. And it came down to there were 4 skinks left, and they had to take battle shot. And so if one of them, maybe there were only 3 left. I can't remember how many there were. But he needed one of them to run. And I rolled a 6, and so they didn't run. So one stayed in there. So they were able to keep him from taking that objective from me, at least in his turn. And the Skinks were the MVP of that one. They held on to that objective, and then it turned into my turn, and I could basically just win the game at that point. HIJ. No, that may have been at the bottom. So it was my turn and then his. So maybe this was my movement here, moving these guys around to capture this one. And then in his turn, he charged them in, killed them, killed them, killed them. So he got 2 points for this one, 1 point for this one, but was unable to take this one back. So that one skink surviving the battle shock kept him from getting 2 points, which would have been a minor victory for him. We would have tied on points, but he had me on kill points for sure. So he would have gotten the minor victory there. So one skink surviving a battle shock test was the difference between a win and a loss on this one. So it was an awesome game. The board was emptied by the time we're done. You can see a lot gone here, and we had moved all over the place on this game. But as in the next game, one skink can sometimes determine a victory. Love those skinks. But good game, Darren. It was a lot of fun. All right, so game 4, I was playing Duality of Death, and I got matched up against Ian Buckley, and he had he took Khorne, and he's got 3 Bloodthirsters in his list: the Insensate Rage, the Wrath of Khorne, and then Scarbrand. So that's in that Tyrants of Blood battalion. So if one attacks, then they can all attack. So it's pretty nasty in combat. This one, I knew it was going to be all about deployment, and he had more drops than me, so I knew I was gonna get a little. So I spread out my drops a little bit, but once he started putting his War Shrine over on that left side, I kind of thought that maybe I could put my forces heavily over here on the right And then kind of on Duality of Death, how it works, usually one person ends up with this one and another one ends up with this one, and you just kind of fight in the middle over it. And whoever gets the most kill points win, or if you can somehow sneak out their objective, then at any point in the game you can kind of win. So I did outdrop him, so I knew I needed to go first. If I could score 1 point on him and then just hold the other one, that's kind of the only way to win. So you can see my post deployment movement. These guys ran pretty much all the way to the objective. This one got to move all the way. This one, I just moved him a little bit. If he took first turn, I just didn't want to be as close to him as possible. Or maybe they rolled low. I can't remember exactly what I did there, but they sorry. So in this turn, so he did give me the first turn. We'll pop up the scores here so we can see the scores. I did take first turn, and I got up onto both objectives and was able to score that. I brought my Ripperdactyls down onto his Wrath of Khorne, which was this guy here. He left me literally just barely enough room back here to bring in the Ripperdactyls. I mean, it's really hard to screen out 3 inches unless you're going to line up all the way against the board. Then I'll just come in front of you. So I could have come in here, but I had enough room to get back here, and that's always a good thing because it forces the other guy to either have to pull back to finish him off or leave him alone, and I'll get to hit with him again. So I was able to take out the Wrath of Khorne. You can see the spot where he was, and there was a chariot or something. I don't remember exactly what that was. There was something on. Oh yeah, it was just a Chaos Chariot. So just 80 points, but it was something fast. So it was just in range. I could pile in 2 guys to him, and that was it. Skarbrand was like blocked by one of his guys or something. He was within 3, but he couldn't pile in enough to tag those Ripperdactyls. So I was able to score this one with these Skinks, and then score my other one. These guys were able to shoot. I don't think the Bastiladon was able to shoot anybody. I was able to get a spell off onto these guys. That Horde Killer spell. They took a couple mortals, maybe. I don't think I did too much damage. I may have done a little bit of damage to that Blood Secretor with the mortals from the engine, but wasn't able to summon anything from them that turn. So his turn, he popped the Skull Endless Prayer. Not an endless spell. He popped the endless prayer right down in the middle of my group. That would kind of hamper my casting for the rest of the game. I don't think I ever attempted Purple Sun again. I attempted it the first turn and it failed. I never really did it again the rest of the game because usually he would have those up or the dogs or something in range to unbind. So his turn, he's going to bring in those guys straight down towards my objective. I think this may have been where his mistake was. He could have easily killed these Ripperdactyls with Skarbrand up in the left corner. But I guess he just wanted to make sure, and he took the other Bloodthirster up there to kill them. So basically wasted a turn with that Bloodthirster, which I would have shot one of those guys just start heading this way. But he does like to keep them in a group, and I guess losing one of them kind of throws your plans off a little bit. So he summoned in some dogs here using Blood Tithe points, and they were coming in to attack this, and these guys were coming here and these guys here. So he's crashing down on this objective, which he's got to do. He's got to take that objective back because I've got 1 point on him. So if I can keep that 1 point lead going the whole time, then maybe I can win. He's bringing these Marauders or Warriors, Blood Reavers, I guess, maybe, down towards those Skinks to try to take them out. So he does make the charge with these dogs. They get in. These guys all charge in. The War Shrine just stays back to buff. And then that guy gets in. Let's see if we have a picture there. Oh, so after his turn, he cleared off the Skinks here almost. 2 survive somehow. The Blood Reavers, I guess, just they weren't rolling good, or they just weren't putting out the damage that they should have. These Skinks just got back out of combat, and he didn't have anything that could reach him, but he could have still piled in. It was a little bit outside of his range of these guys, the Skinks were. But he still could have piled in, but I guess he chose not to. Which was fine with me. I think maybe he didn't want to bring these guys in. If he did, I would have just, I don't know what I would have done, but got him out of there. So that was the end of his turn. He still wasn't able to score this one because you have to kill this unit here. And I think he made the mistake going over here, which, you know, it's not a bad idea to attack here because if you get the double turn, then you can get in to this engine who's holding that objective. But if you'd attacked these Skinks first, they probably they would have survived at least somewhat, or they probably would have killed them. But they survived, so it denied him that point there. He got the double turn, which is not good. So I was thinking that it was going to be over at this point because these guys, how much damage can they do coming down here, and these guys here. But those two little Skinks, I think they may have held him up there, which may have been pretty big. Here's his turn, so now he's turned his Bloodthirsters this way. He's circling around this way, which he had plenty of range, and he was able to get him into attack, but I think at this point I would have left all this business just to deal with these Skinks. Of course, there is the Bastiladon here, so you have to worry about that, but you know, you got to get these Bloodthirsters up the board, I think. Just a little shot of the Bastiladon looking at the incoming hordes. Oh, so here's what happened. So he attacked here first, which is what he needed to do. He had a lot in combat with the Skinks. He had 3 dogs, which have a lot of attacks, and he had quite a few of these guys. They couldn't get in quite as many as they wanted because of this terrain here. And 1 Skink ended up surviving. Okay, big deal. He's going to run, right? They have a bravery of 10, but if you've lost 9, he's going to run. But I had a triumph, and the triumph I had rolled earlier was ignore, like, one time when you don't need to take battle shock, you can just totally ignore it. And so I used that triumph on this one. So this 1 Skink, who is within 3 inches of the objective still, and in this game type, you have to destroy the battle line unit that's holding it to be able to take it. And so that 1 Skink surviving the battle shock test using the triumph was able to keep him from scoring another point. So that was 2 turns in a row where he hadn't scored a point. And in Duality of Death, that right there is pretty much an auto win. So I was feeling pretty good at that point, especially since the Bloodthirsters were still over here in combat, and I had my next turn. So on my turn, he hadn't got the Bastiladon in combat. He had brought in the Bloodthirster this way, and the charge was only able to get him to here. And so he attacked those Skinks. I can't remember. I think he was able to attack them first, maybe, because there was nowhere for these guys to go. And he was able to deal. He probably killed them. I can't remember exactly what happened to him. But the important part was he didn't bring in the Bastiladon or the banner into combat. So I mean, I guess it wouldn't have been that big a deal because on my turn I just teleported them out of there and brought them back over to the right side of the board. So now I have my big group here, and they're all on this objective here. So now I have this objective bubbled up. He took this one back. That's fine. In combat, I had no doubt that Skink was going to die then, but he held up for 2 turns, so that was big. And now I could just turtle on my objective. And this time the summons actually worked. This game that they were doing good for me. I got 1 summons here. I think that was this unit came in from one of the engines. And this engine put some damage on this Blood Secretor. That Blood Secretor at the moment was like at a 2-up. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to kill him with whatever I've got. You know, Skinks throwing their stuff. They're not going to kill him. But I did put some mortals into him that way. And generally just be able to summon some stuff in. I was trying to move the Skinks up a little bit this way just to create more screens so that his stuff is going to have to hit those guys first before they ever get to my bubble there. I think this was after his next turn. So round 3, top of round 3, he got the priority roll there, and he took the turn. And now he's bringing the Bloodthirsters down this way, Scarbrand this way. But couldn't quite make it. This one was out of charge range. This one, he may have been in charge range, but I think he killed off the skinks that were right here, and so it took him back out of charge range. I probably would have left those skinks alive and tried to charge those guys so you could at least get into combat and maybe do that AoE mortal thing that Scarbrand has. On my turn, oh, you can see this may have been after my next turn. I brought in some Razordons. They helped shoot some stuff. They may have shot some of these dogs. I brought some skinks over this way just to... I really should have put them right here. I kind of made a mistake by bringing them this far over. I may have teleported them or something. I thought I ran them, but I should have put them more in the way of this Bloodthirster to block them. But I was feeling fairly confident I could survive the rest of the game. Well, I knew I had him on points, and even if he took the objective from me, it was going to take him 2 turns to get through all the skinks, and I'd be able to win the game that way. So, here's after his. I think this was after his last turn. He was able to bring those 2 Bloodthirsters in and basically wipe out everything. Scarbrand just like completely blew up and killed off the Bastiladon, the engine, the whatever skinks were left. That may have been it. Maybe the Skink Priest or something. Oh, and he had brought in another Bloodthirster. He had summoned another Bloodthirster from his blood type points, but at this point it was too late. That was his last turn there. And my turn, it didn't even matter. We didn't even play out my turn. I knew I wasn't going to be able to take it back from his hero. But at that point I had enough points that it was a victory. But it was a really well-fought match. It was pretty interesting. It really did come down to this one skink right here. He was my MVP for sure. Held on way longer than he was supposed to. Held that objective for 2 turns. Got me the extra point in that first turn, but also, more importantly, denied him the point in that second turn. And so that right there, you know, these objectives, they build the longer you hold them. So if he had gotten a hold of that objective in that turn, he would have gotten an extra couple of points and at least possibly tied. Let's see, he would have at least gotten another 1 point, 2 points, maybe 2, but it would have freed up his guys to start heading towards my objective. So that's what sealed the victory there. And I think being able to pull his Bloodthirsters back over there towards the Ripperdactyls when they were still alive up there was pretty big. He had to go deal with those guys so they couldn't come down and hit him again. And so that really just tied him up for a turn or two to where he couldn't head down to my turtle bunker over here. Also, the double teleports is so nice. I kind of miss not being able to move after it sometimes, but having it guaranteed to where you can just say, okay, I'm moving this Bastiladon on the banner over here to fortify this section. You know, that was pretty nice. So overall, a great game. We had a lot of fun. That was Ian. He was another one of the guys from New York. Lived in New York. Came down with some of those guys. Flew down. So it was a lot of fun. I was happy to survive. On this game type where you have to have a hero holding it or a battle line, a lot of times Seraphon can struggle, especially against something with that much melee. But I was able to hold up those Bloodthirsters and eke out the win. So overall, it was a good weekend, great tournament, had a lot of fun. Seraphon went 3-2. That's statistically better than what Seraphon normally does. So I'm happy with that. 3-2 is kind of what I aim for. There's some game types some matchups that you'll just auto lose to sometimes. This one can be one of those with those Bloodthirsters, but being able to take one of them out turn 1 and then hold up their other ones, that was big. So a lot of fun. Had great matchups all around and a real well-run tournament. I got nominated for one of the favorite armies, I think, something like that. So that was kind of cool. But a lot of real beautiful armies out on the table and a lot of really good matchups. So good job. Well, we're going down to Austin for War Games Con this next weekend, so we'll see how. Taking pretty much the same list, the exact same list actually. So we'll see how it does down there. I think some of the battle plans are kind of favor me, like Scorched Earth. I really like that one. You teleporting skinks all around, Ripperdactyls. That's a fun one. So we'll see how it does. We'll have another battle report up after that tournament. So thanks for watching.